So the rules of this tier list is that every anime that I watch, I throw is going to be an entry on here. I have to watch it. Um, I bend the rules on whether I have to finish it or not because let's take One Punch Man for example. I still haven't watched season 2 of it, and I know season 3 is coming out soon. So yeah, I definitely do need to catch up on season 2. But from what I saw, it still got in the list. You know what I mean? So yeah, every anime I have seen goes on this list, and it could be a show or a movie. Only thing is, let's take a series like Dragon Ball Z for example. So like Dragon Ball has multiple incarnations, right? It has multiple sub-series, and you have Z, you have Super, right here, Super, the original Dragon Ball, which we're going to talk about soon, as well as the new series called Daima. So we got all those, right? Those can be ranked separately. Now, let's take, because I count anime movies as well. Let's say if I watch something like the Broly movie from Dragon Ball, or Battle of Gods, or Resurrection F, like the movies that released. Those are, I wouldn't count those because they're continuations from the show itself. So like Naruto has several movies. One Piece probably has several movies. There's several Pokemon movies. I don't even know if I would watch Pokemon the anime, so I won't have to worry about specifying rules on what can get ranked and what shouldn't get ranked. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm trying to limit the amount of a franchise can go in here, and I'm not trying to make this into, like, if I wanted to do a Dragon Ball movie list, that'll be its own separate thing. So yeah. Hey, what's going on, Jinx? Good to see you in here. And also, actually, Jinx, you actually just reminded me. Plenty of y'all were in the recommendations for a lot of these new series. So I'll go down the line of that in a second. But first, what we're going to do is do a little bit of a lightning round of re-ranking. So I got to change two things with this. The first thing, I'm going to change divisive to very flawed. Okay. And then I'm going to change middle of the road to in the middle. I didn't want to call it mid because, like, mid has a negative connotation to it. So, yeah, didn't want to, because the things I'm about to throw into in the middle aren't exactly mid, if that makes sense. You know, like you can still watch it. So I'm gonna blaze through some re-rankings real quick, because some of the stuff that's already been ranked on here, I'm going to change. So real quick, just to review, Dragon Ball Super. So the stuff in the very flawed tier is Dragon Ball Super, Gunbuster, and Rosario plus Vampire. In the middle, we got Afro Samurai and Yasuke. We have a new tier called Fun But Flawed. I feel like this is a tier that's going to be filled with probably the easiest shows to watch. Like, they have some flaws. They might have some, like, if you look deep into them, you're like, okay, this may not work or this may not work, but damn, it was a fun show to watch still, so it was cool. That's Fun But Flawed, but I'll explain that more as we go on. In good times, we got Fully Cooley, Ninja Kamui, One Punch Man, Spirited Away, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, Kiki's Delivery Service, Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro. You can see all the Ghibli movies are basically in here. Akira. And then for excellent watches, we have Ghost in the Shell, Princess Mononoke, Skate the Infinity. Can't wait for this to come back. Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and Your Name. And then for life changing, we have Dragon Ball Z, Cowboy Bebop, Mob Psycho 100, My Hero Academia, Samurai Champloo, and Hunter x Hunter. This isn't going to be a lightning round because I do have to, like, talk this out. But anyway, first we're going to do some re-rankings. So I debated, starting with Dragon Ball Super, I've debated moving this up into Fun But Flawed. I still think the show is way better on the back end than the front end, especially since they started off with the Battle of Gods movie and Resurrection F movie, and then they made 2 arcs of those movies. So it didn't really make sense to me. And those arcs were just like okay, it was a good return to form to what Dragon Ball should be, after the live action Dragon Ball movie. Um, but I don't know, it just that kind of threw me off, and then also Universe 6 was like okay. I guess the arcs didn't really get to that same level as Z. It doesn't have to be on the level of Z, but Super just felt like a continuation in every sense of the word, but the characters have already been developed, if that makes sense. They didn't get any new type of development. They got new transformations, which also like they look cool, but I don't know. Super just it could stay in very flawed for the fact that the good stuff is on the back end. It's good stuff, but even then, there's a lot of like retconning and like plot inconsistencies with the characters, um, stuff stuff like that. And I'll probably better articulate that when I get to like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Daima, because they really reevaluated how I thought of Dragon Ball. So anyway, let's see. Okay, the first thing I'm actually going to move is Akira. Akira will now be. I argued this too, but it has to go in here. I'm gonna move this up from Good Times to Life Changing. Um, yeah, I didn't watch Super into the exactly. Yeah, that's where I started. So Universe 6 arc is like the first for real arc of like Super. Like that's it wasn't based off of the movie or anything like that. It started from that, and even then, that arc was just okay. Then you got Goku Black, which I think was the best story arc in terms of the story content, and the Tournament of Power had the most spectacle of all the new transformations and stuff. Akira gets life changing now because of what it put me onto in terms of like adult animation and what the anime medium can do. I'm not just viewing anime as a genre, I'm viewing it as a medium. That's what this movie helped me do. Because at the point when I first watched Akira, it was just Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Rosario plus Vampire, and that was it. That was my grasp of anime at the time. But now we have a movie that broke so many new grounds of like what you could tell in a story. It's a lot of um symbolism to Japan's history, and because it's rooted in Japanese history, it's a lot of motifs and symbolisms to that. I can't speak on all of that now, but those themes really do age well. The quality of the movie, it's very hard to match the quality of this movie because they did a lot to like make this film look the way it did. It's very detailed. It's a very detailed amount of animation, and yeah, it was still a crazy watch. I rewatched it recently just to prepare for this tier list, but I'm like, you know what? This is life changing. I argued excellent watches because I still do have problems with the plot of it. I do think that Tetsuo is the most important character, but then everyone else kind of lacks that same gravitas of a character, in my opinion. So the next thing is Ghost in the Shell. This will also get a life changing now because of how much I think about this film after I watched it. It's not one where it's one of those films where I don't know if I would watch the hour and 20 minutes, but it makes you think afterwards. Like some movies are like that where it's like maybe it's not the movie I'm watching itself, but it's more about how it makes me think of like its themes afterwards. There's a lot of roundtable discussions you can have over what this movie leaves you with. And I know this had to be confusing back in 1995 because they didn't have no internet. They didn't have any ways to look up information. DVD and VHS took months to release. So I imagine people walking out of that theater like, what the hell did I just watch? But it's still a good film. Love sci-fi. I love the action in this. And I love how this served as an influence to The Matrix. And The Matrix is one of my favorite movies. So, love The Matrix. Okay, Totoro gets in the middle. Top of in the middle, yeah. And on the same note, Howl's Moving Castle gets in the middle. Only because these are two good Ghibli movies. It's just that I don't go back to them often and I don't really think about them that much. Um Still good movies. Like these movies have their own fan bases. Totoro specifically, I don't really think about the two main characters. It's honestly just more about the creatures and the two little girls that are in there. And then Howl's is part romance, part war movie, and sometimes that doesn't. The clash of that doesn't really fit for me. And that a lot of other people had that same problem too. So yeah, those are gonna get in the middle for me. Next one is Fooly Cooly. Fooly Cooly is another life changing. I don't want to just seem like I'm throwing up like more life changings like all over the place. Um, you think about their way of making food. You know what? To that point, How's Moving Castle with the bacon and the eggs, and I think they had sausage in there. Ghibli food does look good. All anime food looks good. But yeah, Fooly Cooly gets a life changing. The music, the animation. This show does not make sense when you first watch it. However, it's a show that is very up to interpretation because you can not understand it and still that's what it looks like. I'm not gonna hold you. Let me look at this real quick. Yeah, that's probably gonna be the last life changing I give. But anyway, yeah, Fully Coolly with this music and this animation and just how it allows you to just watch and experience without really thinking about it. It's like it hits a primal level of enjoyment of you just watching the stuff, letting the stuff happen, and then you're like, okay, that was still good. It might have been a little stupid at some points, but it was still good. Like if I describe the plot of Fully Coolly is that this little kid Naota is with his supposed girlfriend, massive quotes there, um, and they're hanging out in this ordinary town where nothing happens, and then this 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 girl with pink hair on a Vespa crashes into Naota while they're on the bridge, and she hits him in the head with a guitar. Later in the same first episode, Naota's out of Naota's head comes this giant robot, and supposedly the goal of the pink haired girl is to locate this pirate king named Adamisk, and a way to do it is to hit a guitar on people's heads, which opens up a portal, and maybe the portal might be strong enough to locate where the pirate king is. And everything I just said is 100% true within the show. That all sounded ridiculous as I was saying it. But yeah. But it's so fun. Like it's just robots, relationships, and a lot of great action. Fully Coolly is a great time. And plus, like I said before, that soundtrack is amazing. But yeah, Fully Coolly gets life changing now because I love this show. I'll always like rewatch it. That's good. Oh, I skipped one. Okay. Afro. Afro is not the reason why I made this tier, but it definitely belongs there because the only reason why I ranked Afro as low as it is because it's only 5 episodes. It's way too short. Afro's way too short. Yeah, I went back to it. Animation holds up well. For what those 5 episodes are, it's a very simple plot. That's why I say it's fun but flawed. But the only flaw here is that it's just too short. Like if they made this like 10 episodes or like 20 episodes, I feel like it could have been as good as like Samurai Champloo just to compare it to something. But this definitely does differentiate itself from Samurai Champloo though. But it has a lot of similarities though. Good music, main character has so much aura. You want to see him get his goal, which is to get the number one headband, become the most dangerous samurai of the land. all that good stuff. So Afro is like a classic for for us, because we don't get a lot of as black people, we don't get a lot of representation in animation or anime in general. So yeah, Afro has to move up. Gunbuster, I ranked too low. Gunbuster has potential to be life changing too, but its flaw is going to go into Fun But Flawed. The only flaw that Gunbuster has is that the pacing was a little weird, where this girl went from an inexperienced mecha pilot to one of the last heroes of her generation way too quickly, but also it was fun seeing her progression of that. She has a whole they kind of threw too many plot ideas into this 6 episode OVA, but I don't know. It was a lot. it was a lot going on in Gunbuster. But I will say those final few episodes, it does get depressing and it does make you think a lot. Like, damn, it's a crazy ride from beginning to end. It's also the prototype for Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion for the mecha fans. But yeah, I really do like this as like seeing her journey and the action scenes of when she gets like super powered and like becomes basically one of the best mecha pilots and living up to her dad who was also a mecha pilot. So yeah, Gunbuster gets Fun But Flawed. Okay, lastly, I'm moving Ninja Kamui down to Fun But Flawed. Okay, so this is the new basis of the tier list. I know Life Changing looks a little bloated, but it'll even out soon, trust me. And I know I have a question for y'all towards the end on how to even this out. Now, let's start off with the actual new the new entries. And we're gonna start with last time we started with Dragon Ball Z, so I figured, you know what, it's simple enough. Let's just start with Dragon Ball talk with the original Dragon Ball. So, this is the original Dragon Ball when Goku was a kid. I feel like the adventure seems so big because they were going all over. Exactly. That is the core theme of Dragon Ball. It was back to when collecting the Dragon Balls actually meant something and when Goku actually had to improve on his skills. So, it was very fun seeing where all the characters and Z fighters came from, in their beginnings. I feel like we only got Dragon Ball Z to start off with, so a lot of the characters like Tien, Piccolo, Krillin, like Yamcha, like they all go through their own arcs of being. Yeah, they each antagonize Goku in one way or another, and Goku, they have to go through some character development and some adventures with Goku to change as people. Even Bulma as well. Like, this whole thing starts with like Bulma and meeting Goku in the forest after looking for the 4-star Dragon Ball, and then from that point they start looking for the Dragon Balls together, and that gets them into a lot of wacky situations, fighting this Red Ribbon Army. Red Ribbon Army arc was the low point, and some arcs do drag on for a little bit. That's why it's only in good times, because not gonna lie, many times where I wanted to skip ahead to the Tien and Demon King Piccolo stuff, which is the best part of the show, and I love the later tournament arcs as well. But that first tournament arc, it was all a little bit silly in the beginning, right? But it's cool. It's good silliness, It's a good, like, I don't want to say slice of life, but it's a good like escape of like watching it. Maybe after you've had a hard day, or if you just need some cool, fun TV to watch some Dragon Balls. It's really fun to watch. Emphasis on martial arts was why I started. Yeah, see, and like I love stuff like that because like that's how Dragon Ball Z influenced me to continuously have something to improve on, and then seeing where Goku was taught the importance of that by Master Roshi in the original series was really cool to see. There's a lot of great moments on Goku's development within this show that's not really emphasized in Z. Z emphasizes more of his. I still like Z more, don't get me wrong, but original Dragon Ball is very essential to the story, and it's very influential to, I mean, the whole shonen, like the battle shonen genre. Like it birthed a lot of these series. So yeah, Dragon Ball was big. R.I.P. to Akira Toriyama. I mean, speaking of him, the 48th anniversary of Dragon Ball was literally just last year. So with that, they released a new series called Dragon Ball Daima. This ended very recently, and what I will say is that I'm gonna keep spoilers to a minimum with all these series. So yeah, Dragon Ball Daima. Daima was an interesting journey because I remember when it first came out, when the news first broke that there's this new Dragon Ball series for the 40th anniversary of Dragon Ball last year, and people complained about it, you know, because Dragon Ball fans are going to be Dragon Ball fans. So they're like, why is it Super continuing? Which I do agree, because Super definitely got better. I did all that complaining about Super earlier. Super got better in the manga as it kept going on, and I would have loved to see a continuation of that. But they decided to release Daima instead. I'm like, okay, well, I was willing to give it a chance because I love the animation, and they were turning the Z fighters back into kids. So I was like, okay, interesting. And it actually prompted me to watch original Dragon Ball again because, okay, they're turning them back into kids. Let's see why they're doing this. But to answer your question, I'm ranking movies and series. But like I said earlier, like Naruto, like let's take Naruto movies and One Piece movies. I'm not gonna throw movies in here that come from series, if that makes sense. Because that would overcrowd the list. So yeah, just to put that out there. But yeah, movies and series. So with Daima, it's people complained at first. Then Toriyama passed away, sadly, and it exactly, yeah. Like if I going back to that, if I wanted to do like a Dragon Ball Z movies tier list, which I definitely will do, that might be a stream coming soon, because I want to marathon the Dragon Ball Z movies. That will be its own like tier list. Most of the movies are just exactly, yeah, the compilation movies and stuff. I think JJK is coming out with one soon about Gojo, so it doesn't make sense to throw that on here. But anyway, so Toriyama passed away, and people are like, well, if this is gonna be his last work, let's give it a chance. It's like a light switch. People were like, well, let's just give this a chance from hating it. Then, as we were giving it a chance, it's like, okay, this series is cool so far. It's enjoyable. Then it got to the ending, the last few episodes, and some people liked it. Some people didn't like it. And I'm not gonna lie, some parts of the last episodes, they didn't make sense. But basically, this gets in the middle because I can appreciate it as Toriyama's last work. You could feel his character design and his world building technique in this. You could feel a lot of the fun that original Dragon Ball had with it's like so what Dragon Ball Daima represents to me is like a mix of all things. It's like a celebration of Dragon Ball. The adventure of the original series, the timeline placement and power set of Z. There's a couple of GT elements, including someone turning them back into kids, plus one more thing, but I'm not going to spoil it. You guys, if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you know exactly like what else they brought back that might have ticked some people off, or people really enjoy it. But I'm not going to outright say it. Someone might mention it in chat. It doesn't matter. And then it has the animation quality of Super, but better. And I think the animation alone is good enough to watch this. Now, it's only 20 episodes. It's not going to waste your time. But, yeah. Okay, so Super is on hold because Shueisha owns the manga and Castle Corporation owns the anime. They have been fighting for the rights to produce it. Toriyama passing made it more... See, and that's very upsetting because there's already been... If y'all have recommended me something, I'm definitely going to shout y'all out. Jinx recommended Wistoria, jumping ahead a little bit. but I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, uh, yeah, but that's crazy though because the manga. If I were to rank Super on its manga plot, Super would have been way higher because of how they did the story. They did the story in the manga way better, and that probably would have gotten it to fun but flawed. But the anime, I guess, just went about its own. You know, yeah. I recommend that you only put. I mean, Hunter definitely did like Hunter deserved his life changing tier. Like, I mean, I cosplay as Killua. I think that's enough to say to put in life changing. But anyway, this life changing tier does look a little bloated. Akira and Ghost in the Shell might move down to excellent watches. I'm not gonna lie. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Diamond gets in the middle because it's enjoyable, but the plot and the transformations that they introduce low key don't make sense. So yeah. So quick question, Cal. How many anime series have you seen? I'm actually am really curious because like I know you love Hunter x Hunter. Rightfully so. I mean Hunter x Hunter is one of the greatest stories I've had to experience. Maybe 10. I'm just here to learn. Oh, for sure, yeah. Look, I was once in that position too. You know, I didn't get to 47 animes overnight. So, for sure. Um but yeah, let's get into what I watched right after I did the last tier list. This is probably the most popular one today. Um Jujutsu Kaisen. JJK. First off, we're gonna start off with the ranking. Excellent watch. Man, this show flips traditional build of shonen on its head. JJK, it plays with its audience. I remember there's a joke that the writer deliberately doesn't want his fan base to like him. He doesn't want his fan base. From what I'm hearing about this manga, like it's a lot going on past Shibuya incident arc, and man, it's tough. But I will say what the writer is really good at is distinctively great characters. I mean, he created Gojo. I mean, Gojo's the guy. You know, most powerful sorcerer in Jujutsu sorcery. Like, he's the guy. I love Yuji as a main character. He does get overshadowed at some points, but I still do like how he views things within Jujutsu Society. No, that's really funny. Yeah, season 2, like let's start with season 1. Season 1 was a great introduction to the whole like world of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's kind of has this dark edge to it. Very unique power system and kind of a meta power system of once again kind of a meta commentary on how battle shonen works. Let's see. Megumi is one of my favorite characters. Oh, let me start with the premise of the story. The premise here is that Yuji, so Yuji here with the pink hair, he is at this high school. He eats this cursed object that Megumi, who is here, right here, Megumi is looking for, and basically gets this curse, this demon curse named Sukuna that resides in him. The people at Jujutsu Sorcery High, they're the ones that rid curses, and they have to get rid of this curse by killing Yuji. So Yuji has to eat all of Sukuna's parts to finally rid himself of this curse. But up until then, he's trained as a Jujutsu sorcerer to fight against evil curses. Gojo is his master. You also got Kugasaki, or no, I call her Nobara because Kugasaki was hard to say at first. But these three are like a team, and they go on adventures together. So, yeah, one of the most popular animes today. I love JJK. I love the style of it. And yeah, season 1, great introduction. Season 2 it's like it's crazy how much when I think about other shows, I think Jujutsu Kaisen gets you in to the show the fastest. I can't think of another show that gets you into anime or gets you into the specific essence of the show the fastest. Like it got me in 1 or 2 episodes. Some of these, like I'll go with Hunter x Hunter for example. I love Hunter x Hunter. It's life changing. It does take a while to get you in there, to get you into like damn, I'm really into the show. Like I love the Hunter exam. It is a traditional battle shonen stuff, so I can see how that might not rope anyone in. But once you get to the end of the Hunter exam and then like into Heaven's Arena where they start learning the power system itself, that's like 20 or 30 episodes in. As opposed to JJK where it's gonna hook you in like 1 or 2 episodes because that pacing is like very fast. JJK Zero was heartbreak. I like JJK Zero. It did damn, I forgot to mention JJK Zero because I guess it's out, technically it's a movie but it's within the plot too. Yeah, the movie does a great job of like expanding the lore of the series. I like a long lineage kind of plot where two characters decide the fate of their world, but you get to see them as kids like that, and that's basically Gojo, who is here, and Geto as well. I feel like it's very easy to call him Ghetto, but it's it's not. It's technically not Get. You know what I mean. It's hard to say his name. I forget what his plan ultimately is, but he doesn't like how strong people are, and he wants to eliminate all of jujutsu sorcery. There's more to it, but yeah, he is. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, next one is a recommend. Oh, by the way, can't wait for season 3. I know the JJK manga people are going through it. From what I heard about this Colon game arc and this Shinjuku Showdown is what it's called. I have not read the manga, but if you have, I'm very sorry. I don't know what happens next, but I feel like I'm gonna have to strap in for season 3 because seems like it's gonna be tough. But I'm gonna be here to enjoy it. If I do this again after season 3 is done, we'll see how JJK stands after that. Next, we have a new one. Not new, but this is a recommendation from shout outs to Shy for this one. She recommended me Children of the Sea. This is a movie from 2019, 2020. Yeah, it's a little bit of a, maybe, I don't know if it's underrated or like not as popular as like the others. But I definitely never heard of it until like I watched it. But yeah, it's very, very mesmerizing. Like a lot of just beautiful, just like I'll say this off top. Probably one of the best. Well, I mean that's hard to say because a lot of these animes like look great, but Children of the Sea, you could definitely watch it on animation alone. Do they talk? Oh no, so that's they do talk. This is just the AMV of it. I could, what was better? I probably should have just looked up the trailer, but I feel like the trailer doesn't show enough. But anyway, so the premise. Let's look up mute. Okay, this girl named Rukia is spending her summer at this summer camp or summer school, one of the two. And her dad works at this aquarium, and she encounters this boy to the left named Rumi, and eventually this boy to the right named Sora. So, in short, they basically go on sea adventures together, but a lot of this is left up to interpretation, and it can be a little confusing to be honest, and like to some people it could be a little bit boring, I will say that. But I really enjoyed it for the animation and for like how much the plot is up to interpretation, kind of like in a Fully Cooley kind of way, except it's not like in your face crazy. It's just more like reflective and chill and kind of calm. But yeah, very mesmerizing visually. It reminds me of like Final Fantasy meets Wind Waker, because like it definitely has a Final Fantasy look to it, especially with Sora. Like the fact that his name is Sora, but you can't tell me like this guy is like not Final Fantasy coded. Like look at those eyes and that hair, especially like the blonde hair of it. But I'm giving this a good times. Let me clarify. Yep, yeah, this is a good times. Probably on the same level as Kiki, I would say. Moving on, we got the next one is Kill la Kill. It's like Sailor Moon, but more violent and more fan service. That's, you know what? That's an accurate way to describe it. It's like edgy and emo for 24 episodes straight. All the characters yell. All the characters are trying to beat each other. Premise: this girl here is her name is Rukio. She is a transfer student to a new high school that basically gets their powers from these uniforms called Goku uniforms. That's what they're called. And their whole power system is called life fibers, and it gives them superpowers. So they're able to wield all these weapons and gadgets based off of these Goku uniforms using the uniform's life fibers. But some people have life fibers within their bodies. I can't say who because I would spoil it. But basically, Rukio is trying to reach her way to the top of the school, and the top of the school is guarded by this other girl named Katsuki. Ooh, hold on, I forgot your name. Why am I forgetting people's names? You know, when you watch so many people's animes, sometimes you forget stuff. So hold on, we're gonna be using Google a lot today. Satsuki, that's what it is. Satsuki Kurien. Ooh, Satsuki. So yeah, Satsuki is at the top. Rukio is starting from the bottom, and so she has to work her way towards the top. So yeah, and she wears this uniform named Senketsu, who is 100% authentic life fibers that gives her an edge, and you'll see why throughout the show. But this is one of the first projects by Studio Trigger, who also did Cyberpunk Edge Runners. And Studio Trigger is a successor from Studio Gainax, who did Evangelion, Gunbuster, a little bit of Fooly Cooly, and Gurren Lagann, which I still have to watch. Kill la Kill is an excellent watch. Like this was a great time. It's so much fun. Yeah, it's a lot of it's a lot of fan service in this, but it's so much of it that it's kind of the point of the show. It's just ridiculous to be ridiculous, but it still has some great plot elements though in Rukio's journey to the top. Ruko, I think is how you pronounce her name actually. Graves of the Firefly. I actually haven't seen it, Colder. But I heard that one's really good. Cowboy Boots and the Speed. It's disgusting work, as a matter of fact. Yeah, that was really crazy out of context, but I promise you the action and the animation, I love Studio Trigger's style of animation. So it's very bold, very exaggerated, as you can see how like Rukio threw this chair. And fun fact, Rukio has the same English dub voice as Gon and Hunter x Hunter. When I was hearing it, I was like, ooh. I was like, I recognize that voice. So yeah, Kill la Kill, excellent watch. I did think maybe it could go in good times, but I think I'll probably just rewatch it at some point just to see if it stays in that tier. So we'll see. Next one is Bubblegum Crisis. This is another older one. That is what's called a boomer. I wouldn't even want to remake of this anime. Some anime just needs to be left alone. You know, I actually do want a remake of this because here's the premise. So these robots are called boomers, and they pop up and terrorize the city at multiple points. This lead singer of this band is actually a part of this group called the Night Sabers, and they're kind of like, they kind of remind me of like female Power Rangers. So this is them, right? The main singer you saw on stage was her name is Pris. Uh, she's not the leader. The blue haired girl right here is the leader. Sylvia, I think her name is. Um, the pink haired one is a ditzy one, and then the one to the far left is like kind of normal. But I want to explore another series because first off, this gets it in the middle for me because it doesn't really age that well plot wise because they weren't able to finish the show because it was an OVA. They kind of I don't know if they ran out of budget or if they just couldn't finish the series. They tried to bring it back with the sequel series called Bubblegum Crash. You can actually see it right here, but it wasn't the same. But yeah, these four girls are tasked with defending the city from these boomers and getting behind the boomer crisis. There's corporations, there's classic 80s villain type of people. It's very villain of the week. Once again, similar to Power Rangers. But yeah, it's okay. And it's also very hard to hunt down and watch. It's cool aesthetically because of the sci-fi theme and the fact that it takes place during the night, so there's a lot of neon imagery. So that 80s neon animation was really cool to me to see. Um but yeah, in the middle. I definitely would not watch it again. But it's cool just to see the history of like the cyberpunk sci-fi genre, which is what I really got into after watching Akira. Another reason why Akira and Ghost in the Shell are life changing. They cemented my love of sci-fi stuff, and Bubblegum Crisis is sort of the follow-up to that. So yeah, Bubblegum Crisis. I'm trying to edit the flow of this. I'm not putting this into a this isn't in order of how I watch these shows, but this is. And I wanted to like splice things. I wanted to shake things up within this order to make sure I'm like, okay, let's do an anime they know. Let's do an anime they may not know. So yeah. All right. Next we have a long title here. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Very yeah. Now that I'm watching this, it's very Final Fantasy Dragon Quest coded. Now, unfortunately, I didn't finish it. I just gotta be honest with y'all. But I had a lot of fun in that first season. But the weird thing is, I haven't been compelled to go to the second or third season. I need to go back. I need to watch it because I do enjoy this series. It's my first isekai that I watched. And for those that don't know, isekai is when it's kind of like Alice in Wonderland, where a character from one world ends up in a whole another world as a whole other character or identity. That's basically what isekai is. Isekai is very oversaturated, but this is one of the ones that was like I got into this thanks to Nee. Shout out to Lazy Nee. We did a whole watch party, watched 11 episodes back to back, and I was like, well, now I gotta finish it. So, but it was still enjoyable. This gets it in the middle for me, and I want to make sure I got these ordered right. So Daima goes here. Kamui. Oh, interesting. Okay. Slime. Yeah, goes above. Crisis goes here. Slime is above Yasuke. Slime is not bad though. I'm burnt out. Yeah, it's too much. We got too much isekai going on. Like I swear, there are good ones, and Slime I feel like is one of the better ones. If y'all just wait till I talk about Eminence of Shadow, because that show, second season, let me not jump ahead, but Slime is very enjoyable just off the strength of Rimuru here. So his name is Rimuru Tempest. This is his human form that he eventually gains, but he is the slime that you see. And he isekais into this world of like magical creatures, like this Final Fantasy Dungeon Quest, Dragon Quest like world. He recruits a majority of this crew you see here. Like you got a wolf, a goblin, couple of elves, orcs. No, they're elves, I think. Repurposed elves. These are more goblins, and he basically builds his own nation and rids this entire world of evil. And he's stupidly overpowered. He's like the anime Kirby, basically. So it's so fun to see him power trip in this new world. And that's basically the strength of the entire show. The problem is that could get old, where it just seems like, well, if he's just gonna beat everybody, then there's no surprise factor. There's no like, I don't want to say substance. Well, I mean, there's barely any substance with it, but yeah, that time I got reincarnated as a bench while drinking juice in the hood. It's insane though, because someone told me that reincarnated as a vending machine. See, look at this. Reincarnated as a sword. That's an actual genre. I didn't even know that existed. That's insane work. An unnamed man is tragically killed in a car accident and reincarnates in another world as a sentient magic sword. Like, this is how crazy Isekai is getting. But yeah, I was gonna say there's literally a one called Reincarnated as a Vending Machine. This is so far down my list, but I definitely do want to watch it. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just, how many episodes does this one have? Let me see something. Let's see here. 12? Only that's it? It's a short one. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, let me not get off track. But isekai, like, you know, if you love, I will say this: if you love some isekai, you'll probably have so much you have to watch. In terms of, there's good ones, there's bad ones. You could low key make a tier list off of isekai anime alone. It's so huge. I honestly think that Sword Art Online sucked the enjoyment out of isekai for me. So Sword Art, I definitely do want to get into. Maybe not too soon. It probably won't be this year. Who knows? But I heard from Sword Art that the beginning is good, the first season, but then the rest of it is just like, it's okay. It's okay to straight up bad at some points. It reminds me of Ready Player One. It kind of did the whole video game, aesthetic mixed with like, hey, if you actually die in this game, you die in real life type of thing. So definitely do want to check it out for that. But you know, and I guess I could say this now. When it comes to flawed animes, you can kind of see how this list is becoming a little lopsided to the upper ends of it. But it's like, you know, I need some stuff I need to watch some flawed stuff to really see how bad it is and to fill up this bottom part of the list. And maybe there's something that other people like that I don't like. Once again, we'll definitely get into that. But I might need to ask people for animes they don't like so I can watch them and be like, okay, let's see how I think of this. Or animes that some people like but some people don't like. That kind of thing. But we'll eventually talk about those towards the end or what that could look like. Next, we have Air Gear. Air Gear, this is a special one. All right, I'd honestly, if I weren't doing a tier list, I would let the whole video play. I love the opening and music for this whole series. There's even a remix to this one where stuff gets dramatic in the show. I love it. Now, when I finished this series, first off, let me say the premise first for this one. So, Iki is our main character here. He is in this world of skates. As you can see, people were skating in this one. And the skates are called Air Treks, or ATs for short. ATs are basically like super powered. They're basically, honestly, super powered skates. So you could do all these crazy. There's ATs is a big deal in this world, and there are gangs formed around ATs, and there are multiple gangs that compete for being the best gang in the city or basically the world. So Iki wants to join this world, but his family are kind of like, he's in this foster family, so like you see these girls over here appearing next to him. They're part of his foster family, and they have their own gang of like people with they're called Sleeping Forest as a group. I should call them groups. They're gangs, but like they're groups too. So all these groups compete to be at the top to be the Sky King, and Iki wants to be the next Sky King. So throughout the entire series, he's competing to get to that level. It's typical. It's like a sports shonen. Wayne, I remember Wayne recommending this to me, and I think Dee Dee also recommended this to me as well. Because I also enjoyed Skate, so she was like, I think you would like Air Gear, and I was like, okay, definitely. If you like Jet Set Radio, that era, or like that type of the music, the aesthetic, you would definitely like Air Gear. Air Gear is really good. Now it does have plot issues, and it does, the one flaw is that it's unfinished too. It's only 26 episodes, but it really should have been over 100 to be honest with you. And the manga definitely kept going after the series ended, and I do want to still read the manga because I actually do have a bookmark right here. You can see it. I have Air Gear, as well as One Punch Man. I'm still trying to read that manga, but Air Gear, like aesthetically and as a watch experience, I really enjoyed watching every episode of this because it just clicked with me. That 2000s skate culture type of era, it really did click with me. And this anime is single-handedly the reason why I created this tier, because it was going to go in very flawed, but I had a very fun time watching it because of the aesthetics of it, the look of it. It's people skating around trying to be the best. Like, that's all it really needs to be. So manga's worth the big time. Finished it a while ago. Yeah, and I saw some of the art of it. The art of it looked really great. Like the artist for this, or the manga artist for this, he did a great job with the character designs and the art, everything about it. Plus, it's the reason why I have the music is done by the same guy who did Jet Set Radio and Sonic Rush, Hideki Naganuma. I've been talking about this guy all last year, and Air Gear is a part of his works. This ending is what you hear on my outro because it was so great, ending every episode with this outro. All right, so yeah, that's the outro. Air Gear is fun but flawed. Next we got Solo Leveling. This is the one. I can't wait to talk about this one. All right, I'm gonna start with quick, because we gotta talk about season 2. I'm not gonna spoil it. Okay, this was Sung Jinu. He is regarded as the worst hunter of all mankind. This is a world of hunters. Each hunter has a specific rank, and whatever rank you are set for that rank for good. So if you're at S rank, you stay as an S rank. If you're A, you stay as A, so on and so forth. It goes all the way down to E, and he is an E rank. He's trying to earn money for his sister and mostly his mom, because his mom is going through an illness, and he wants the necessary tools to get her out of that illness. So he goes through. The first 2 episodes are wild. When he gets to, let me just say, this more adult form, that's when the show gets crazy. He basically gains this power where he can continuously level up from, like, he's not just an E rank anymore. He starts to ascend to higher ranks of hunter. And the journey he goes on to level up and seeing how far his ability can be fleshed out is very cool to see. So, like, that's how he was as before the event, the thing that happens in the first 2 episodes, and this is what happens afterwards. His voice also changes. So, like, he's getting stronger, he's getting taller, and like Nova said, it's Aura the anime, and honestly, he's not wrong. Like, This man has so much aura. I've never been more captivated by MC recently than Sung Jin-woo. So yeah, he's really like, this show is amazing. Animation level, action is great. It's kind of low key, has isekai elements, but it's used in a way to where the world doesn't know his secret of how he levels up or how he's getting stronger, but we see his personal journey of how he's getting stronger and his motivation for getting stronger. So, Soul Leveling, pre-season 2, I was going to put it in Good Times, but I think now I'm going to go ahead and put it into Excellent Watches. And I don't want to overhype it, because I feel like it was a little bit overhyped in the beginning, which is why I thought about putting it in Good Times. But then this second season came in, and it's still going, and it's about to end next week. Yeah, it should be ending next week. But I'm positive already that it's in Excellent Watches. It really took it up to the next level for me. But yeah, let's play the second season intro. The second season has Lisa from Blackpink. Right? Wait. That should be Blackpink Lisa. I think that's her. Hold on, let me double check. Because there's two Lisas. There's a Lisa from yeah, that's Lisa from Blackpink, right? I could be wrong. That could be the Japanese singer. No. Sorry. Okay. This is the Japanese singer, Lisa, who has done themes from... She's done music off of other animes. Demon Slayer opening, as well as Sword Art Online opening. So you might recognize her voice if you've seen those. And she's also done stuff for Angel Beats, which is another anime we're going to be talking about. It's actually next. Okay, cool. I don't know if I did that on purpose, but... And it also has Felix from Stray Cats. So, yeah. Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Angel Beats and Demon Slayer, yep. Yeah, as soon as I get a internet connection, we all catching up, because boy... Yeah, and I can't wait to see it again. Whether we watch dub or sub. Oh, also, shout outs to Alex Lee, the voice actor for Sung Jin-woo. He did an amazing job on this voice. Yeah, I feel like this is where Alex really got his props. But then even the sub voice actor for Sung Jin-woo was great too. And mind you, season 2 is the one, just to clarify again, season 2 is the one that took it up to Excellent Watches. So as I was mentioning, the singer Lisa, she didn't do the intro of Angel Beats, but she did the music within the show. But Angel Beats is our next show. I love like how it's more piano focused, because typically these shows are like electric guitar kind of focused. So yeah. All right, Angel Beats. This one, I think I put it in Good Times or Fun But Flawed. Yeah, okay, Fun But Flawed. Yeah, Angel Beats gets a Fun But Flawed. So we're gonna put this here. Premise is gonna sound a little wild, because this anime kind of goes there on the message a little bit. Because when it first begins, you're like, what? But yeah, this reminds me I need to rewatch. Yeah, let me brush you up on that plot real quick. So this orange-haired boy named Otonoshi, he ends up in this afterlife that's basically like a school setting, and he's caught up in this battlefront led by this pink. It's really like a dark pink. This dark pink girl named Yuri, to rebel against God and Angel. Angel is the white-haired girl you see on piano. Right here. Yeah, right here. This is Angel. And they're basically rebelling against her. Now, I'm not going to describe why I like it plot-wise. It's a short one, actually. It's 13 episodes. Lot they have to go through. It's kind of like set up as a mystery. School actor, like, so It's more like purgatory. It's really, it kind of reminds me of Persona a little bit, the way it presents itself. But it's a very interesting one. Cool little like funny like when you go through some of these characters who are in this Battlefront, um they're like typical one note characters. Like this guy's a nerd, this guy's like the cool best friend, emo ninja girl. I don't remember this dude at all actually. I don't remember him. But then another nerd. This guy's whole thing, this dude's named TK, and he speaks in full English while everyone else is in Japanese. So that was funny. Yeah, Didi, I didn't know who that dude was. But yeah. Yuri is essential. Yuri, Angel, and Otonoshi are like the main three you should care about. Music is a big part of the show, so they have a band at the school, but some of the band members are part of that Battlefront. But you'll see why these people are in the afterlife and why they're rebelling against God because of their premature deaths. It's a lot going on in the show. It's kind of a mystery. Um, but it's interesting, and it kind of gets. It's a very emotional anime too, so it might get you sad. People are like, by the end of it, you'll cry, you'll cry, and I'm like, I didn't exactly cry at the ending. I was low key more confused at the ending, if anything, but it was still good. I still liked it. Cool action scenes. It was released in 2009 or 2010. Good animation, and yeah, little too short. I think that was a flaw I had too. It's a little too short at 13 episodes because it discusses a lot of stuff. Um, but yeah, okay. Next is Windbreaker. So yeah, a lot of people compare this to Tokyo Revengers because it's a school full of people that just fight. Like their main thing is fighting. Now the thing is, people recommended me Tokyo Revengers. Like they really like it. I guess some people don't like it. So this might be one of those animes where it's like it's known, but like some people didn't like them. Um, just like said, man, I was just going through it today. There's so many animes dropping in April. I might go through them by the time we end this, but Windbreaker's first season, they're basically, this guy is an exchange student. His name is Sakura. He has a two-tone hairstyle with a black and white, and he gets made fun of his whole look being two-tone and stuff. But he finally warms up to this new school full of cool dudes, cool, like they're like bros at this point. And they spend their time honing their skills as fighters, and they end up in this season picking a fight with this rival school. And the whole show is basically like the fight with that rival school, and you get to learn how each character is through their fights. The fights are very grounded and well animated. I love the fights in the series. Now I will say, I think that second season, I'm waiting, similar to Solo Leveling, and it was also released last year. Solo Leveling started last year. Windbreaker also started last year. Similar to Solo Leveling, I think I might need the second season to move it up to excellent watches. But for now, I'm going to hold back and put it at good times above One Punch Man. Because it's good so far, but I feel like the season felt so short. It was only a 13 episode season. I feel like they're barely scratching the surface with what they can do with these characters and how they're carrying out these fights. I love the story so far. I feel like I just need that second season to really elevate it. And it's coming out in April, like Jinx said. So, yeah, can't wait for it. They're basically going to fight another school in the next season. So, yeah. My favorite was dude with the eye patch right here. His fight was cool. He disrespected that man. That was one of the most disrespectful fights I've seen in anime in a while. Oh, were you talking about dude from? I think his name is Choji. Is it? No, no, wait, no, no. I'm thinking about someone else. That is what's that man's name? Togame. Yeah, this guy right here. Is this who you're talking about? Yeah, from the other. Yeah, this guy. Nani. Yeah, this guy. He was cool. I liked him from the other school too. Um, Choji is the wild. Yeah, the white haired guy. He's the leader of the other school, but he is crazy, really crazy. Yeah, he yeah, Togame and Choji, they were a menace together. I love exploring the rival school while also exploring the characters of this school as well. And then this guy is like the leader of this school, and he's kind of like the Gojo of this show. And I think he shares voice actors with Gojo, but let me clarify. Yuichi Nakamura. Yeah, this is Gojo's voice actor. But yeah, really cool series. Love Windbreaker. Can't wait for that second season. Okay, I think we're about halfway through. Maybe. I don't know. Ninja Scroll is next. It's a little dated, and let me just say something about AMVs. Not AMVs, but like anime movies and OVAs. OVAs were very like Gunbuster did this, Bubblegum Crisis did this. They put a lot of mature content just to try to move records. Well, not records, but to move like the sales, because there wasn't a lot of adult animation doing what Ninja Scroll, Akira, Ghost in the Shell, like Gunbuster, like there wasn't a lot of stuff that was doing their type of content back in the day. So they had to have that amount of action and that amount of stuff in there. Animation though was pretty good. It's that good detailed 90s animation. Okay. Jubei is this lone ninja walking through this country, but he's on a journey to take down other powerful ninjas along with this female ninja named Kagero. They're basically like the main two trying to defeat these powerful ninja that you see in the clips. Like you see this one guy with the sword, the woman with all these bugs around her, all that good stuff. It's in a setting of feudal Japan, and that's why like that's how you can see like the uniform. You can see that style in the uniforms and like the architecture and just everything about it. I really do love the action of this. It's very well done. Madhouse did the animation of this, and they also did Death Note, Hunter x Hunter, and Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue. Ooh, Perfect Blue. When I get to Perfect Blue, that's definitely one to talk about. Ooh. Perfect Blues. Do not watch Perfect Blue at night. that's all I got to say. But anyway, low key, don't watch this at night. It's a lot going on. And I will say a flaw of it is that it's very, like I said before, it's very dated, but it also it's dated by the sense of what they do with its female characters. It's low key trigger warning stuff that you have to say because it's like it's just like I said, it's edgy for the sake of being edgy, and if they put content in here that puts female characters to get objectified, basically. Yeah, yeah, you got to trigger warning some of these scenes because it's not. I remember getting kicked out. Yeah, not they're not great. They're like it's one of those things where it's like you could have written this character a little differently to not be tortured this much. But you only did that to be edgy. Like, come on, I know what you're doing. So okay, but Ninja Scroll, even with all that, does get a fun but flawed. The fun and the flaws are like half and half for me here, because it is pretty amazing of a feat in animation and action. Story's a little wonky though, and a little basic, but still enjoyable. So there you go. Next one is Code Geass. Really, I really enjoyed this one. This one, yeah, I got a lot to say about this one. Code Geass is the best excellent watch on this list. Like, and let me explain. Let me put y'all on. All right, this is one that I almost want to do a watch party on, but it is 50 episodes, two seasons, 25 each. But man, this is one of those ones where the plot. I didn't think that plots could get better than Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter to me has the best written plot, but that's until I watched Code Geass. Code Geass has one of the best written plots I've seen in an anime. I mean, like from beginning to end. Maybe a couple plot holes here and there, but it's so complex. The pacing is very quick from the moment you start. They introduce so many characters into the mix, and there's so many layers to it. This is the main character. His name is Lelouch. He is first off, one of the smartest characters in anime. Yes. He is an exiled prince of. Well, hold on. Let me back up. So, Britannia, which is basically a fictional Britain, conquered Japan and called it Area 11. So they colonized Japan and called it Area 11. He is the exiled prince of the emperor who took over Japan, and he hates his father. His emperor is the father, so he hates his father, and he starts up a revolution for Japan to take back over his country, basically. And to help him with that, this green-haired girl named C2, which you see in the background, and you can see her like floating around in the intro. Her, she gives him these Geass powers. Well, this power called the Geass, which is the power of the king. And when he looks into someone's eyes, he mind controls them, or he's able to order them to do whatever he pleases. And that setup alone is very, very layered. This is a story where every episode has a crazy cliffhanger. This show's the master of cliffhangers. And I swear, it's every single episode. It'll end and you'll be like, what? And it'll just keep going. It just keeps elevating the stakes. The stakes change all over the place. You'll think things that are there. You will think things are going well, and then it'll just go straight into more chaos. But then it all resolves very, very well by the end of this. So I really enjoyed my time with Code Geass. There's also another main character. His name is Suzaku, who is Lelouch's best friend since childhood. A detail in the opening is that you see him in the military because he works for the military. He's the one that's piloting this mech called the Lancelot. And it's interesting because he kind of leaves a dual life as a person in the military and also going to school with Lelouch. But then also Lelouch also lives a double life. This pink-haired girl right here named Colin, she lives a double life. Like, it's a lot of double life people in the show. And almost all of these characters have something going on within themselves. But yeah, really, really great anime. A lot of great cliffhangers, great villains too. He's not only against the Emperor, but he's also against his family, his royal family, who you see Cornelia here, and this pink hair, and the dark pink hair, kind of violet actually. And then you also have another sister named Euphemia. He's not against her though, but her stuff is a little complicated, I will say that. But yeah, if you haven't watched Code Geass, please give it a look, especially if you enjoyed Death Note. And you know what? I'm gonna do something real quick. Let's talk about Death Note next, because I do want to compare these two MCs. Lelouch gets compared with Light Yagami a lot. So, yeah, let's get into Death Note real quick. I have to. I know Death Note is a classic amongst all animes, and I originally wasn't gonna watch it until way later, but I had to do it after Code Geass. By the way, before I get into anything, I was rooting for L low key most of the story. But anyway, this is a very simple plot, but it comes with a lot of layers. Ryuk, a Shinigami, drops a Death Note into Earth, and this Death Note is a book where if you write someone's name and their cause of death, they die with that cause of death. If you don't write the cause of death, they just die from a heart attack. So Light picks up this book and he decides to be a vigilante and starts killing people for justice, or who he deems needs justice. So, and then the technical antagonist of this is L here, who is a super crazy detective who is trying to hunt down Light, and Light is using this name Kira. So L is trying to catch Kira, and basically the whole show is these two guys trying to outwit each other. It's a crazy dynamic. This got a lot of people into anime. This is a very big one. People call Light one of the smartest protagonists, as well as Lelouch. So yeah, it's really good. So, well, okay, it's good, but I will say Death Note does have some slow moments. I wouldn't say moments that don't age well. It's a good times. It's not that, yeah, it's not that it doesn't age well at some points. It just, okay, how would I explain it? Someone said it's one note suspense, and I definitely agree. Like, it's very one note with its suspense and reveal, and it kind of goes on that pattern as the show goes on. But it's very very strategic in how it explains how the plot moves on. A lot of people I feel like would put this in life changing or like excellent watches, but it does hit some problems with the plot for me. And a lot of people didn't like the business arc. I can't explain what it is because spoilers, but then there's a second half of the story, and that's where most people drop off of the show. But that first half is what people really enjoy. And I saw there's a J drama too, as well as a Netflix adaptation. People do not acknowledge those, so stay away from those. Just watch the original 37 episodes. Great, yeah, good time. I feel like nowadays you have more option. If I were to compare it to Code Geass, first off, the plots aren't really comparable. Death Note is more of a smaller plot. Code Geass is way bigger, with like the country being, it's a country-wide level threat that Lelouch places himself on. I feel like Lelouch is a little more, Lelouch and Light have their share of flaws, I'd say. Light as a protagonist gets a little too cocky at times, and sometimes that got on my nerves. It definitely got on my nerves at times. But yeah. So yeah, that's Death Note. I'm just mad that he got away from it, for real. Like Light, it's like he is very smart and very gifted, but he gets too cocky for his own good. Like it really is just like a, like, damn, man. Yeah. I can't say the ending because that's spoilers, but by the time I was at the ending, I was like, all right, come on, man. Like, come on. Yeah, and he thought he was too good not to get caught at some points. So that's where I'll leave that at. Battle of the Brains. And then it also talks about, if you had, I remember Renity saying this. Shouts to Ren, because she was the one that like really co-signed Death Note, and when I was like talking about anime stuff in the community, she's the one that really like co-signed it, and she was talking about how like it makes you think of, if you had that power, what would you do with it? And truth be told, I honestly just wouldn't mind minding my own business. I don't want to act like I'm above the Death Note or anything, but a notebook is just sitting in the grass. that was my main problem with the show because I was just like, why are you this nosy to be like, huh, what's this? I wonder what it does. Oh, it kills people? Let's test out if it could kill people. And then just, oh, it does kill people. Well, now I'm a vigilante. Like, I don't know. It just seemed too quick for me. Um, that's why I wanted L to stop him. But yeah, I like L. L has a nice set of quirks. He definitely made this seating style normal. Sitting like this, like it's wild work to be like, yeah, I sit like this to get focus, and I'm like looking directly at the writer. I'm like, bro, come on, man. I know why you did this. But anyway, L's a goofy, smart guy. I like L. Oh, and Misa. I don't know if she's shown on this opening. I think she is here. That doesn't look like her. I think that's supposed to be her, but um, she's annoying. Yeah, I didn't like Misa as much, to be honest with you, but she's okay, I guess. I don't know. Ryuk might be my favorite. He just explained the rules, ate apples, and minded his business. Yes, yeah. We get to meet more Shinigami, and I think I like more of those people than Ryuk. People said that Ryuk represented the audience more than anyone. So and that was a cool way of putting it because he just like sat back and like enjoyed the show of the humans. So I do like that perspective that he kind of represents the audience in a way. But anyway, we got how many we got left? 8 shows left. Next one, this is another unknown one, kind of a back in the day one. But we got Megazone 23. Yeah, this anime does not age well. But it is one of the first and most important OVAs. That being said, it was a tough watch. Very flawed. The first part, which is this part, this OVA is in 3 parts. It's basically 3 movies. The premise is that this guy's name is Shogo. They live in this 80s kind of city. He meets this girl named Yui, and they strike a friendship. But basically, the whole thing gets turned on his head when he figures out that the city that they live in is fake, and it's actually in space on top of this big thing called the Megazone. And there's enemy Megazones that are out to get it. So he learns this truth and tries to save the whole zone, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So the first part, cool OVA, very important, similar to other OVAs. Like I said earlier, they had that action, violence, sex scenes, all this stuff to move an OVA, basically. We get to the second part, and here we go. This is Shogo and Yui in this one, and this is them in the first one. Yeah, it's a part 2. So they changed the designs completely. That's not Yui though. But yeah, this is Yui right here. This is supposed to be Yui in the second one. She has regular brown hair, but this is Yui in the first one who has blue hair. Very, very different. And supposedly the story is this was the original design for the first one. That I think a different director wanted to use, but they went with the original design for the first one. But then once they got to part 2, they were like, damn, these designs were good. Let's just use them for the second one. And just decided to switch up the design. The plot's still continuing from it, sort of. But it's more of like a punk aesthetic instead of like an 80s aesthetic. A lot of people who look like they want to be in a punk band. I dropped it, so I didn't have a clue there was a part 2. Yeah, and to be honest with you, you were kind of dodging a bullet with that one. Then we get to part 3, which is a century-long time skip to the future, and they have an entirely new cast. And this is one of those animes where it's like the animation gets pretty bad by the time we get to this part. Like, they have this new character. He's cool. He's all right. But once I got to this point, the plot was a little confusing. and I watched this for history's sakes. Part three was very like shoehorned in, very stripped for budget. So yeah, they were just doing stuff in part three. Like I could see the potential of like having a century long time skip and having like kind of a, you could tell it interesting. There's an interesting plot here. It's just the execution of it was not as good. So very flawed for me. Um, there's other animes where like it was released in the 80s and it still ages well. Yeah, like Gunbuster was released in the 80s, but that at least had plot elements that were like carried out well, even with all of it jumbled together. But anyway, uh, okay, so I double checked this. We're gonna move on to the next anime, and I'm gonna answer Cash's question in a second. This doesn't really answer the question though, because like the fan service doesn't really ruin it, because we all know what this show is. Um, High School of the Dead. God, that teacher character barely qualified as a teacher. Let's just cut to the chase. This is very flawed. Um, but here's what I will say. I do recommend that people watch this to see how ridiculous it is. Um, Plot wise, I mean, what plot? It's fan service and zombies. These kids are trying to avoid a zombie outbreak. That's the plot. All right. This has the very famous scene of someone shooting a bullet, and it basically goes between a woman's cleavage. Like the bullet does this between, like it's that scene. You wouldn't even know it's a show about. Really, you wouldn't. You honestly wouldn't. Like the characters are constantly hitting on each other. The teacher is very ditzy and tries to fall for the MC at one point. There's this toxic relationship going on. There's actually a lot of toxic relationships going on in the show. Um, but it's kind of it kind of goes. It's so ridiculous that it kind of comes around to being kind of cool to watch, and the animation is pretty good for the fan service and for the action itself. It actually really does age well. No further comment. We all know High School of the Dead. You're not watching it for the plot, but I do recommend it for the ridiculousness. That's what I recommend it for. Um, Next one, a little more typical. Wistoria Wand and Sword. And also, let me say something about fan service. Fan service to me isn't a deal breaker. It depends on how it's used. This one is used very unnecessarily, so much that it's part of the identity of the show. And once it's like that, you kind of almost have to respect it. It's like, okay, we know what this is. Okay, so once we know what this show is trying to do and what it is, you can't really fault it for being just about fan service, because that's kind of just the point of the show at that point. Yeah, like there's shows Tenchi Muyo, Rama One Half. Rama One Half doesn't really. I feel like it doesn't have that much fan service, but it does. Yeah, it's crazy. It's the identity of the show, and it's a fun show because of it. But when you try to do this, when you try to judge this critically, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So yeah. All right, and we got 6 more animes. So this shouldn't take much longer. Just as a review so far, this is what we're looking like for the tier list. Pretty even, actually. And I'm not evening these shows out. I'm not judging these shows out just to even them. It's more to like, just to make sure I'm honest with the show and to like have a leveled out tiers, basically. Yeah. But yeah, this is what we're working with so far. Next, we're going to move on to another new show. Kind of came out around Solo Leveling, Windbreaker, kind of in the summer. Shout out to Jinx, who recommended me this. Wistoria Wand and Sword. All right, now we'll start with this girl right here. Her name is Elfaria. She is... I forget the name, but she's like the top dog in like Magic Society of this series. She has a close friend named Will right here, who, yeah, the chosen one basically. And Will here has no magic ability at all. Kind of like Deku in My Hero. Doesn't have a quirk. Will doesn't have in the world of magic. Will doesn't have a he doesn't have a single shred of magic ability, so he can only fight with his sword. So he wants to be master of the sword in this magic society, and he meets all these magic users. He meets a fire dude who's his rival. His love interest here. Well, one of his Elfaria is technically his love interest. Kind of, I feel like Elfaria is more of a sister figure. And then this girl named Colette. You can't really see her here, but yeah, the one with the rock magic. Standing by him here. Yeah, this is Colette. She likes him, but he likes Elfaria, and Elfaria likes him back. So it's kind of an interesting love triangle. Yeah, they basically treat him like dirt because he's not good at magic at all. Like all four of these characters judge him at one point. Like we got a grass magic type of user, ice user. I think that's Shion right there, and this is an electric user. But Will has some great moments of like character development and really proving why he's the best, like why he's the guy. His roommate had me dying in it. His roommate wants him too. Everyone wants a little bit of Will in this one, relationship wise, and I can't wait to see how the story develops as it goes on. But yeah, Wistoria gets a good times for me. Good times below Windbreaker. Animation in this one very, very consistent. It's super consistent. But that roommate was funny in that one episode because, like I said, everyone wants a piece of Will. But yeah, great animation. It doesn't take long to get to hook you in my opinion. This is the roommate, by the way, who helps him with his support items and stuff. Eminence in Shadow. Okay, I'm a little conflicted with this one. First season, I was in excellent watch territory. But this one declined on me by that second season. I was just like, okay, what's going on? Because I honestly didn't personally didn't really get the plot as much. The main character, I think his goal is to be a background character that strongly influences things. So he isekais into a place where he's the best magic user in this world of magic users. He recruits a group of women to carry out his cause and become this organization known as Shadow Garden. And it's not a bad show. It's just one of those where I was just like, something doesn't feel right here. You know, he has this organization of women doing stuff for him, and the process of getting in the Shadow Garden through one of the girls that he knows or he influences, I'm just like, okay, this is kind of terrible how he's getting these people in. But I feel like it's supposed to be a gag show, but sometimes I don't really laugh at the gag, if that makes sense, or if I don't laugh at like the stuff that's going on. I'm like, some of this isn't really hitting me right. And I think it's a little bit basic with the animation at times, but other times it's pretty good. Like, I do like their outfits, and I like how Shadow Garden, is as an idea. And he kind of just wants to be the most powerful, but in the shadows. So I kind of called him Saitama Batman at one point. But yeah, the gag is there. I was like, I'm good on this. And the second season, it just kind of went downhill for me. Second season theme is good, though. I will say that. Because you get to that ending, and I'm just like, what did we do all the rest of this for? Like, what was the point? So yeah, in the middle, I put in the middle, dangerously close to very flawed. I almost want to put it there, but it's not as bad as. I can still see the good in this one, though. I'll keep it here, I guess, for now. Yeah, I'll keep it here. That might change by the time I post this, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, next one, also popular. Danadon needs no introduction. This one's a real genre bender. Perfect place to stop here. Um, these two get into a relationship because one person believes in UFOs but not supernatural beings, and another person believes in supernatural beings but not UFOs. So they're both like, bet you I'm right, and then try to prove the other wrong. They both recognize that they're both right, and they are in this wacky world of dealing with the supernatural and aliens together. And they start a little romance. It's an unlikely romance because this guy is like um an otaku, very into like comics and news and nerdy stuff, and this girl is kind of like she's not a popular girl, but she's like a well-known one, if that makes sense. She has her own friends and stuff. But I love these two's relationship. I love this whole entire anime. This anime gets an excellent watch, and it's only season 1. I could see this being, I don't know exactly if I would put it at life changing anytime soon, but it definitely does deserve that excellent watch. So, one of my new favorites. Yeah, I'd put it right there. Like, just the level of animation throughout this opening and the style of it is very much its own thing. The characters are all wacky. It's not even just those two. It's I didn't even say their names. My bad. This guy's name is Okarun, and this girl's name is Momo Ayase. But I just call her Momo. This is Momo's grandma. Had people going crazy on Twitter for a couple of weeks. This is Turbo Granny's cat form, and these two make the love triangle a little bit more interesting. So yeah, Donna is not for the weak, but yeah, it's a little weird. Yeah, she was annoying at first. I didn't like her. Yeah, she was like trying to be a popular girl. It's low key light spoilers, but like she's a popular girl trying to like do shady stuff behind people's back. I hate those types of people. I hate them. Um, but she was, but you know, she kind of warmed up. She warmed up towards the end because she realized the error of her ways. This guy, meanwhile, is pretty chill, so far at least. But we got to see how the second season is to see how he develops. Um, but the manga, I heard so many good things about the manga, and it was a lot of great build up to the anime releasing. Um, yeah, I love it. Don is a great time. And people compare it to Mob Psycho, and you guys know how much I love Mob Psycho. It's a lot going on in Mob Psycho. Don is the same thing. So, a lot of genre bending. Okay, down to our last 3. This is another new one. I don't know if anyone knows this one, but this is the Elusive Samurai. Yeah, it's so vivid, very very vivid. I'm glad we're on 1080p because I can't wait to look back and see how crispy that was. But Elusive gets a good times for me. Where in good time? Okay, cool. So below Windbreaker. This one's very interesting because a lot of samurai stories take place in Edo period. Um, but for this one, it takes place in far before that. And this guy is the heir to the throne. Okay, Tokiyuki, young samurai heir to the throne, and he needs to reclaim the throne because someone at the top betrayed the entire family and got the entire village burned down to a crisp and murdered. Sounds crazy, right? But it's actually, they play it very comedically, which kind of throws off the tone a little bit, but it is pretty good with this animation and the way it does its style. This anime has a lot of style to it, like the color wise. They look, yeah, I know that's this. It's a wild start, but he gets over it pretty quickly. By that first episode, and he's not your typical samurai that's like a badass samurai or anything. He has his own style of doing samurai stuff, which is basically evasion. And yeah, it very gory on the scenes. Animation is actually the same studio as Windbreaker, which is Cloverworks, but the styles are very, very different between each of them. Like this one just feels like you're looking like you're. It's I know it's Japanese, but like you're looking at a Chinese painting almost. It feels Chinese, but maybe I'm mistaking my cultures. Um, yeah, they it really does. Like, don't let the visuals fool you. It's kind of some serious undertones, but it still is like fairly. It's fairly comedic, and I love this group of characters too. You have me at bloody and lighthearted. Yeah, it's an interesting juxtaposition. Sometimes I feel like it should lean more serious, but at the same time, I really do love the action of this and how this group immediately trusts the young prince and they are defending him. So yeah, and that guy swinging is like a goofball too. So yeah, great show. Really recommend it. This one's pretty new too, so I can't wait for season 2 of this one as well. I watched a lot of new ones that just get recommended me on my Instagram page, and there's a lot of new ones starting April coming up. Like I'm already trying to catch up through my other shows, so that's gonna be pretty interesting. But yeah, next one is Perfect Blue. Ooh, now this is the one. This is my first horror anime. I don't plan to watch more horror anime. Let me just make that very clear. But this is another one of those movies where it was like one of the top anime movies I hear. But this was a good one, but it does make you think a lot. Yeah, this is one that came out late 90s. Okay. Black Swan. If you've seen Black Swan and Requiem for a Dream, well, Black Swan mostly, but both of these two movies, psychological horror type of genre type of stuff, they were both influenced by Perfect Blue. And Perfect Blue was the one to do like the screaming in the bathtub type of scene. Um the Just to mention the premise. Okay. So, this pop idol named Mima, yeah, her name is Mima. She's a part of this group and she's breaking away from the group to become an actress. Some people, as pop idols, have these fan bases. Some of the fan base, including her number one fan, does not like this move and they want her to stay in that pop idol kind of thing. So these fans, um how do I describe this next part? Basically, a physical manifestation of pop idol Mima is like hunting her down and kind of like wanting to get rid of her to go back to her pop idol era. Meanwhile, she's trying to meet the real Mima is trying to chase this acting career. But throughout the movie, you're not going to know what's real and what's fake. It really messes with your head. Um yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like realistic horror. When you're watching it, you're like, wait, was that real or was that not real? It really does mess with your head a lot, and it's pretty, very good cinematography wise, and the way the editing is and the way it's shot is really good at that. And it is a couple of scenes, one particular scene where it's a little bit graphic to the point where as it keeps going, you don't know if she's just doing something for the movie or the show that she's doing, or if she's really feeling hurt by it. And I'll just leave it at that. It definitely left me with a lot to think on, even to this day. Like, I watched this in January, I believe. But even to this day, like, I really do think about this movie a lot. And it makes you think about how dangerous fandoms can be. But within the movie, it's also a mystery element to this movie, and it's a lot of twists in this movie too. So I think it's really enjoyable if you're like a horror person. It's more of like a psychological horror type of thing. It's a couple of slasher moments, I would say, but more psychological. Messes you up a lot with the editing and the cinematography. So It gets, I think I put it in good times. Yeah, good times. It's funny, I made this tier to not be bloated, but it's still getting bloated, but it's whatever. I'll put it right there. Nothing's wrong with Sakamoto. Those people are just being. Yeah, that's what I figured. Because I heard a lot of good things about Sakamoto too from the manga. Um, and now I'm in an age with my anime journey where I'm hearing a lot of these great manga coming out, and then those are the things that are getting anime adaptations now. Like that's how I heard about Dandadan at first. I want to say it's the same way with Solo, where people are like, "Oh my god, this story is so good, y'all! Can't wait for y'all to see it get animated." Same thing with Windbreaker, with Storia. Like this is kind of the new generation of stuff that I'm seeing, as well as the classics like Bubblegum Crisis, Ninja Scroll, and Perfect Blue. So, kind of, I like having a mix of the classics and the new stuff. So, yeah. All right. Last but certainly not least, another shout out to Miss Game Queen GQ for doing the watch party on this. Soul Eater. It's definitely a step up for me, and I would put it at excellent watches. I will say, amongst all the animes on this list, this is one of the ones where I feel like multiple characters have a main character design. Like they would make great MCs. Technically, the MCs of this are simultaneously Maka and Soul. So this is Soul Evans, and there's Maka. They are basically okay. So the world is full of these creatures called the Kishin, and the Kishins devour other souls, right? And to fight off against the Kishin, we have the Kishins are the evil people, and these two are one's a weapon meister and one's like a weapon themselves, and they're able to extract the evil people and take their souls and collect souls. So Maka is the Meister here, and there's a lot of Meister weapon duos in this academy. The DWMA. I forgot what it all stands for, but it's basically the Academy of the Grim Reaper, Death himself, who's right here. Um, let's see here. There goes Excalibur. Excalibur is like the mascot of this. That man is crazy. Yes, that's why I want to get into Fire Force because I heard it was connected, and I know season 3 is coming back. Finally, I know Fire Force fans have been waiting for that one, so I might want to get into Fire Force soon. But yeah, and written by the same person, so yeah. Death Weapon Meister Academy. Thank you. Thanks, James. So yeah, Death Weapon Meister Academy, DWMA. But there are other groups too, and there's more main character like people, like Black Star here with the blue hair, and Tsubaki, who's turns into his weapon, which is like a nunchuck scythe almost. He later gets like a sword weapon too. It's pretty cool. And then you also got another fan favorite, Death the Kid. He can also be an MC with I forgot their names, but they're the sisters, and they turn into his guns. So it's a really creative power system, and I really love a lot of the combinations between their own teams. But I like how they just vibe well within each other. So like Soul and Black Star have a dynamic. Death the Kid and Black Star have a couple of moments. Tsubaki might meet up with Maka at some points. I'm not gonna lie to you. Blair is like one of the first characters that comes in. She doesn't really contribute to the story that often. She's kind of made for fan service, but it's fine. You also have another fan favorite here. A lot of fan favorites in the show, really. Stein. Stein is the guy. He's kind of like the Gojo of. I keep saying this tonight, but like the Gojo of this show, like kind of the master. Got Krona. Corona goes through a lot. Just a lot of great character work in the shows, and a lot of great relationships being shown as these characters fight against Medusa, who is the main villain of this show. Kid has some problems. That man, we would be in a serious situation and he's like, it's not symmetrical, and it just loses all composure. It's ridiculous. But I love Kid. But yeah, so with that is round 2 of the anime tier list. So I'll do a read off of all of these, starting at the bottom. For Very Flawed, we have High School of the Dead, Dragon Ball Super, Rosario plus Vampire, and Megazone 23. These aren't unwatchable, but these are still, it's what the tier says. It still has a lot of flaws, but I would still recommend some of them. High School of the Dead is ridiculous for being purely ridiculous. In the middle, we have Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro, Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, Yasuke, Dragon Ball Daima, Bubblegum Crisis, and Eminence in Shadow. Fun but Flawed, the new tier we just put in, is Gunbuster, Air Gear, Angel Beats, Afro Samurai, Ninja Kamui, and Ninja Scroll. Real quick on Ninja Kamui. It was originally in Good Times, but the problem with Ninja Kamui is I think that the plot it didn't slow down, but the fight choreography got stiff once they incorporated robots into the show. Originally, it was good because it was ninjas showing off their own abilities and stuff. Yeah, it was CGI being used and all that. It was cool. It's still a fine watch. It's still pretty fun because that theme song is really good. And I like the main characters and stuff. They should have just stuck to the natural human ninjas instead of the robots. The robots are cool and all, but they just didn't look good in fights. Look kind of stiff. So yeah, Ninja Kamui and also Ninja Scroll. Pretty fitting that the two ninja things are next to each other. All right, and then Good Times, we got Original Dragon Ball, Windbreaker, The Elusive Samurai, Wistoria, One Punch Man. Still gotta watch season 2 and 3. Spirited Away, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, Perfect Blue, Death Note, Children of the Sea, Kiki's Delivery Service. Excellent watches. We got Code Geass, Jujutsu Kaisen, Princess Mononoke, Skate the Infinity, Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Solo Leveling, Your Name, Kill la Kill, Don to Don, and Soul Eater. Lastly, for Life Changing, we got Dragon Ball Z, Cowboy Bebop, Mob Psycho, My Hero Academia, Samurai Champloo, Hunter x Hunter, Fooly Cooly, Akira, and Ghost in the Shell. And these are the 47 animes I have watched. And you know, at this point, I'm like, how much further can we take this? And how much longer is it going to take me to get through a stream of this? Like, this is going to get very, very big.